All right, what is going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video, another day, another dollar. We're going to be breaking it down today. We're going to go over what occurred yesterday because I did not make a video yesterday after yesterday's price action. Very interesting day, and then today we'll go over today's price action as well, as we were very rotational and have an inside day. We have put ourselves back into a balance in the market, which is a very positive thing in my opinion for buyers. Now definitely want to see us hold our balance lows and consolidate for a little while on the daily and push up. And even if we do take out a daily low, or our daily balance low, and come back down and revisit the lows on a weekly standpoint, put a weekly back into a balance, then nothing is wrong with that either. All in all, it'll be healthy for this market to kind of do a little bit of consolidation. Something I want to show you guys real quick on our 30-minute chart is how value over the last several days, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days, I guess you can say 7 days, value has been creeping up higher. Now value is the areas that you see on my screen where the blue bracket is. That just shows you value area. That is where 70% of the volume was traded at, and within what price range, right? So each day value was either higher or overlapping to higher. And then finally, for the first time in 7 days, we brought value lower. And then today value was unchanged. So what I mean by that is basically we stopped setting higher highs, higher lows. And then for the first time in 7 days, something has changed. We took out a daily low and are now starting to set a series of lower highs and lower lows, which is what buyers do not want to see. Now, got to give them credit where credit is due. We've held this gap here and we've grinded up higher, and we could easily continue to hold, in a balanced consolidation pattern, and break up higher again. And there's, that's perfectly fine. But right now, buyers are kind of, taking their foot off the gas a little bit. Time to reassess as we roll into earnings this next week. And then we do have the Fed rate hike decision coming up as well. So a lot of news coming on. Maybe the market gets into some type of consolidation, see how we trade within the range, and digest all that news and then move up higher. Now let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to basically go over everything that happened in yesterday's session and then go over what happened in today's session. Yesterday I did take a trade. Today I did not take any trades. Very rotational days I try to stay away from, as it doesn't provide the best risk reward scenarios. However, there were opportunities to take trades. So we'll go over yesterday's price action first, mark the destinations, and then go over today's price action and mark the destinations. And then we'll get into our larger time frames, look over the monthly, weekly, daily time frames, update our daily balance, and then get you guys out of here hopefully rather quickly. I'll try to keep this one short, sweet, and simple. Not going to get too much into detail on the technicals, or at least try not to. And if you do not mind, please leave a like down below. Comment something. How have you been trading this market? Have you been doing well? Have you not been doing well? Let me know. All right. So when we left off on Wednesday, no, right? Yeah. When we left off on Wednesday, we were a rotational day, created a 10Y point of control. And, I said that if we opened up below that 10Y point of control, took out the day's low, didn't get much for it, we might rotate back up to that 10Y point of control. Well, sellers immediately established some type of control in yesterday's price action as we took out the previous day's low and then could not really find our grip back into the previous day's range. Beginning to one time frame down, meaning we're the first 30-minute time frame, or the second 30-minute time frame, took out that first 30-minute time frame's low, and it was right there where that single print set is. Now keep in mind, whenever I said, on days where we do go trend up and we have single prints to lean against on to pull back in on that day, days after, they oftentimes become areas where you'll pull back in and fill in those areas, as they become targets to the downside and reference points for you to kind of take off position. So immediately after we took out at A's low, B period targeted that single print fill at 80.75, and then they began to target the lower portion of the middle distribution. We didn't get there right away, but we did take out that low of day, filled that set of single prints, and then create a bit of a trend day early on in B period on Thursday. Now, we got some good extension to the downside, but couldn't really continue the trend in C period as we popped back up. And then D took away those set of single prints. And then we slowly began to grind back higher as we were attempting to test our toe in the middle distribution. Now, keep in mind, that day was a triple distribution. We had the upper distribution, the middle, and then the lower. And then right in here where I'm highlighting is the middle distribution. You can see where in C period we got into that middle distribution, but didn't quite find acceptance in it just yet. So D, E, and F period, we began to grind up higher as that's all that short-term sellers and traders wanted to do, as well as algorithms. Now, as we began to push up higher and we got near value high, I had a feeling because of everything that we had early on in the seller's favor as far as market generated information goes. There was a lot of information that was in favor of the sellers to the downside. I felt like the odds favored of us at least going and testing the lows or even making a new low in the day prior to us making a new high on the day and getting that 10Y point of control. So I thought it was a great risk reward opportunity to get short once we started to creep above E's high. Take that short against B's high. So essentially I was getting short on the way up at 88, 89, and 90 is where I took my majority of my position. And yes, I did short almost the exact top right there at 90.75. My fill was at 90. I had, I think it was a 50 lot of MES sitting there. And then they got hit on that push up. And then boom, came in really good. I felt like we were going to move point of control back down to C's high, which is exactly what we did. We moved point of control back down there at C's high, and I got out of my position. So I shorted from 90, 89, and 88 all the way down to 82, 83, and 83 and 82 is where I took my position off, because at the time I really wasn't completely sure that we'd get that C high right there. And it was only like a point worth of gain that was left. So I caught majority of that move on the way down in F period. However, I do kind of wish I would have kept on some of the position, because we began to move lower in each one of these time frames, continuing after we stopped the one time framing up, began to a one time frame down again, setting new lows on the day, which is what we thought was the more probable idea here in F period when we popped up. That's why it was a great risk reward short up there. In understanding market context kind of helped me, understand the market context, kind of helped me realize, all right, I need to take this short here. It played in with a level and a great risk reward opportunity, as well as we pushed up into the previous day's range, right? We seen an A and B period that we really couldn't find acceptance in it. So once F period got back up there and we began to retest the lows of the previous day, felt like that was a great opportunity to enter short. And as some of you guys may recognize, some people use this strategy fairly often, a break and a retest of that area, right? So we pushed up, that area began to act as some type of resistance, and we sold off pretty heavily from that resistance area, as some people may see. But for me, I seen just a really good risk reward short, and it resulted in new lows on the day and eventually targeting that lower set of single prints and then dipping our toe into that lower distribution from that trend day up, putting ourselves into a 3-day balance, now a 4-day balance, including today's price action. So that is basically the gist of yesterday. After putting ourselves into some type of balance and getting a bit of a liquidation and kind of getting some of these longer, these weaker hand longs out of the market, these weaker hand bulls out of the market, we get some profit taking, and it pushes us down into some type of balance. Now, our balance is now 45.25 to 46.09, so pretty large balance to say the least. But that is our balance area. Now let's go ahead and mark yesterday's low. We'll mark yesterday's high because that's all there was. There was no afternoon rally high. That's essentially what I thought F period was going to be. It was an afternoon rally high. However, it was not very, or it was too close to the day's high for it to result in an actual afternoon rally high, as well as there was no single prints for us to use. So low of day, we'll mark that. Hopefully you guys were able to follow that along and understand why I took that short up there, and then kind of why the price action resulted in what it did. All right, and then we have A's high up here, which is our high of day at 94.25. I just realized I put the wrong date. Yesterday was the 20th, not the 21st. All right. Let me go down here and fix this date real quick, and then we'll talk about today's price action. All right. Today, pretty unique day. We have a very wide point of control. Inside day, as you can see, all of today's price action was nothing but pure chop inside of the previous day's price action. Another thing you can kind of note is that whenever we did push into the lower distribution from that trend day up on Thursday, we didn't really get much acceptance in it. So if I were to highlight where that lower distribution is real quick, you can note how today's price action, we really didn't even get into it. So if I mark this some type of green, right, saying that that's a big area of demand, you could see how we stayed above that all of today's price action. We did not dip our toe into the lower distribution. We did yesterday, but today we didn't really visit it much. Did not visit it at all much today. Very rotational day, showing choppy price action and some type of indecision, as these traders didn't really know what they wanted to do. They were, you had people that were probably selling at the lows and then getting caught because smart money was buying at the lows, and you have people that were like, oh, we're going to go test yesterday's high, so they were buying up here, and then they were just getting punched in the face. Hence why all the volume was done within a very tight range here at 73.25, resulting in a almost perfect point of control. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 wide. 11 out of the 13 time frames move back and forth between the 73.25. That's where buyers and sellers were happy to meet in the middle. Very rotational day, bell-shaped curve. Provided great opportunities on the short side, as you could have shorted the edge here in E period, and to rotate back into the point of control. So from 82 back down to 73, great 10-point risk reward. Then again up here in I and in J period, shorting 84, shorting 83 to rotate back into 73. So another 10-point gain potential there. The reward was not very great on the long side, as there really wasn't much opportunity on the long side down here. So not a whole lot to review today. We'll go ahead and mark today's low of day. It looks like we attempted the probe here late in the evening at 64, but it was only like a tick's worth of probe. So we're not going to really say it's any type of significance. We need it to be much larger, at least 2 to 3 points before it's like a true probe. So we'll go ahead and mark today's low of day. Oh, another thing before I get into it all the way, I want to note how we stayed inside of the overnight range all day too. We didn't take out either side of the overnight range. We stayed within the boundaries of the overnight range from 45.90 to 45.61.75. We just chopped around inside the overnight range all day long. Just kind of showing that indecision on an even shorter time frame there. So buyers and sellers were kind of at a neutral there. All right, so we're going to mark our 10 wide point of control here at 73.25. 73.25. 11 wide point of control. Then we'll go over our monthly and weekly and daily time frames. Then we got our high of day up here in I period at 84 even. 84 even. There's our high day. So this is an inside day. So now we look to come out of it and monitor it for some type of continuation. So if come Monday, we take out today's low at 63.75 and at that low at 57.25, come out of the inside day to the downside, you will look to attack that 45.25 area, look to get that highest accepted price at 41.75, then that low of day at 45.36.25. If we come out of the inside day to the upside, then you should look to rotate up towards that 9Y or that 10Y point of control at 45.96.75. Should get that no problem. If we open up inside of today's range and there's not much volume, you'll look to chop back and forth in between that 73.25 area once again. So keep that in mind. Choppy indecision coming into the Fed this next week, I do believe, will be kind of the main watch on everybody's list. So let's go ahead and look at our larger time frames. Let's go ahead and look at our monthly time frame. Monthly, not much change, so I'm not going to spend too much time here. Monthly, still one time framing up. We're still setting higher highs and higher lows on our monthly time frame. Continues to grind up higher. The next target on your monthly list is that high from March of 2022 at 46.31. Looking to get there. We got relatively close, as our high so far this month was 46.09. So just a couple points away from that. If we get there, then you're very, very close to the all-time high at 48.08.25. Now let's go ahead and look at our weekly time frame. Look at our weekly time frame. We're still not in a weekly balance yet, but something to kind of keep in mind. As we've kind of hit all of our targets for the most part on the upside. Weekly continues to one time frame up 2 weeks in a row. Just boom, boom to the upside. No issue there. Next target is at 46.31 area. Now let's go ahead and look at our daily time frame, where we'll update our daily balance because that has changed. Let me zoom this bad boy in. So here's our daily chart, and as I was discussing on Wednesday, that little top there, that little doji kind of looked like it might result in some type of downside price action, putting us into some type of balance. Little did I know I was going to be correct. Should have loaded up on puts. No. So we've put ourselves back into a 4-day balance, right? If we take out this low here from was that Tuesday's price action? Yeah, if we take out Tuesday's low at that 94.50, then we'll come out of balance to the downside. And then we'll look to attack our weekly low, putting our weekly into some type of balance. So let's go ahead and mark our balance areas here. We'll move that up to 94.50, 45, 45, 94.50. I'm having to move these up pretty good. That was our last balance low, was way down here at 44.19.50. So, oh, whoa. Oh, I'm saying stuff backwards. 45, 45, 25 is the low. What am I talking about? So there's our balance low. Now our balance high is 46.09. If I could type. And there's our balance high. So that is what our balance area looks like, or our area of consolidation. So if we take out that 45.25, you'll look to attack these other daily lows and then ultimately pull back into this 20-day moving average, where we potentially could fill this gap at 44.92.45. It's kind of crazy to see how that's creeped up, but that will be kind of on our target list on the downside. Let's go ahead and I want to look at last week's low real quick, just to see what we need. So we need to take out this week's low at 45.36.25 to put ourselves into a 3-week balance area. So we would need to take out this week's low to put ourselves into a 3-week balance area. And then that balance low would be 44.24 potentially in the future. But once again, there's your daily balance. With all that being said, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. We'll catch you in the next one. See ya.